Take it you guys are all ready, because giving you a few minutes. Okay. All right. Thanks for coming to talk to us today. We're going to talk. We had an officer-involved shooting last night, 500 block of East and Southeast, about 9:30, a little bit before 9:30, I think, at night last night. And we're going to show you. Obviously, it's a quick turnaround time. We didn't get much sleep, and we got back in here, redacted a few videos. There are a lot of officers that ended up being on scene, so there's a lot more videos as the process goes on. But we've heard a lot of calls from the community. There's a lot of inconsistencies or outright falsehoods being spread on social media. And tragically, this young man last night involved in the shooting died. Very thankful that the officers involved were not hurt, but I know that this individual has loved ones and family members that cared about him. And I think when false information is being spread on social media, and we have the opportunity to get some accurate information out, we should take that opportunity. So that's why kind of put together 3 videos. What you're going to see is 2 officers that tried to stop this individual on a bike. He was suspected of having a handgun, and you're going to see a body-worn camera. I'm sorry, first you're going to see an in-car camera video. Then you're going to see a body-worn camera video of the same officer, and then a brief body-worn camera video of a second officer. So without further ado, I'll let the beginning play here. A lot of familiar faces, so you're probably familiar. There's going to be some warnings here. What I'm not going to do today is I'm not going to come to a conclusion of law or policy. This is, as I say, the intent of this is to clear up the falsehoods, the inconsistencies, and just on balance provide the basics of the actual use of force information, because it's something that the community is very much interested in, and so we're going to do that. All of our officer-involved shooting incidents are investigated by the Michigan State Police. They were out late last night with us, have taken it over completely. There is a potential that there's a lot of other surveillance video out there. I know that the apartment building, which the parking lot of which this took place in, has some obvious what appeared to be surveillance cameras on it. MSP will be doing that investigation, looking at those. So as this investigation continues, you may see better angles come out and things, but this is what the Grand Rapids Police Department has. So of course these are angles that are they don't see everything. Body-worn camera videos are not perfect. They're affixed to the officer's uniform in front and show just that perspective. Again, there is graphic content here, so yeah, this is not a positive or happy video. This is a tragic incident. First officer that you're going to see, both the body-worn camera and in-car camera is the same officer. He is one of our canine officers. So you'll hear the dog barking in the background, and the canine is utilized to apprehend this individual. A handgun was recovered at the scene. I know that there were a group of police officers that approached this individual after the fact to move him off of the handgun and secure that handgun. We didn't get to those videos to get to redact them and process them in time for this meeting, but we know that there's probably dozens of officers that have that sort of video evidence that we'll be sharing with you guys in the future. And we're going to start with, I believe, the in-car camera video. I was wrong, sorry. This is body-worn camera video.
get shot! Oh, he's got a fucking gun! He's got a gun in his hand? Let it go! Let it go! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Back up!
This next video will be that same K-9 officer, but it'll be the perspective of his in-car camera system.
Stop, please, K-9!
Charles. And we're in the back lot of the apartment complex.
So one more body-worn camera video.
Yes, I saw the barrel pointed straight at my face. Yes, enemy under him.
And that was from moments after the shooting. As I said, we haven't processed all the video to share with you, but I did have forensics email us very quickly a image or two of the firearm as it lay on the scene. It does appear to be a functioning handgun. So there were a lot of individuals. Obviously, that's a residential apartment building. I think it's maybe 5 stories. A lot of lights came on when this is going on. We certainly did. MSP did a very thorough canvass. It's probably out there again today, but information from both Silent Observer. If you're not comfortable reaching out, you can reach out to them anonymously. But also Michigan State Police, who's conducting the investigation. If there's people out in the public that have more information, please reach out. So again, tragic incident. I am thankful that the officers were not hurt, but I know that there's a family that's hurt, that's gonna miss this young man. And at that, I will take any questions if anybody has one.
Chief, where was that person shot? Do you know?
Did you say where?
Where?
500 block of
No,
East.
no, like on.
On the body?
Yeah.
You know what, I don't know, I responded last night. I responded, both deputy chiefs, 3 captains were there, and I was there pretty quick, but he had already been transported to the hospital. So I'm not speaking from my own personal observations. What I do know from the radio traffic and the officers at the hospital, that the hospital did, I'm told, a fantastic job doing everything they can to work on this individual. I believe that he went into surgery for injuries to his chest, which leads me to believe he was likely not struck in his head, because generally if you have a head wound from a handgun that is fatal, it's pretty evident early on that it is fatal. So my understanding is some injuries to the torso.
Describe that we heard multiple shots. Can you confirm how many shots were fired and all by that one officer?
So I can confirm from listening to it and watching this video a lot more times, obviously, than you guys have. So it's preliminary, but in my expert opinion, it looks like there were 3 shots fired by that police officer and 1 officer fired.
And this incident started because there was a call of that man on the bike with a gun?
So that's obviously something that Michigan State Police will be asking. We have 2 officers that were on scene that were trying to initiate this stop. They have not been given their formal interview yet. That will obviously be very soon, within the next 24 or 48 hours. So anything I give you can just be from the radio traffic and from the information that the other officers know. I know that they had information, whether it was an anonymous source or whether they saw the gun themselves, whatever it is, they were calling out on the radio that this individual they suspected of having a gun. And clearly then there's the other violations. He was, that video of the in-car camera, if we played it longer, he is obviously evading police for a very long time, refusing to stop for them, driving, on the sidewalks, trying to evade them. So there's certainly other legal reasons to stop that individual, but the radio traffic that we're familiar with said that he was suspected of having a gun, which obviously.
And
Why-
so no, it wasn't like a warrant stop or anything, from what you can tell at this
Oh,
point.
a what stop?
Like, outstanding warrant or anything, from what you can tell.
You know what? I don't know if he had a warrant. I know we're not identifying him at this time. I know he was on parole. I don't know if that plays into it. I don't know if parole had a hold on him or something. I know he had passed, obviously, arrests for weapons violations and things like that. But, I can't assess his intent and what his motivation was, if he thought he had a warrant or if he knew that this would. Obviously, you're on parole for a gun. You're not legally allowed to carry a gun, so that could have been part of his fleeing. But I'm not aware that he had a warrant.
Describe, I know you kind of answered that question already, but like, what was the call initially to where you would want to stop this person?
Yeah, I would like to find out, and that's, I'm sure, going to be when the officers are in here either tomorrow morning or the next morning to give their full statement. They're going to describe it, but it doesn't seem to be a 911 call. It seems to be an officer-initiated call. So they either observed this individual, giving indications that this individual is armed with a weapon, or, like I said, it could be an anonymous complaint or things like that. We get that all the time. Maybe it was in some establishment and someone called. So I'm just not positive, and I won't be till the next 24 hours probably. Go ahead, Matt.
You said it was an officer-initiated call?
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We saw obviously 2 body camera videos, but there was obviously 3 officers. One that was from a car behind, and obviously the K-9 unit officer. But we also saw a third officer there who was over that man. Where was his body camera footage?
Like I said, not only was there a third body, if a third officer there, if we had played it for another 20 seconds, you would probably see 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So obviously, officers, that pursuit on the bicycle lasted so long that there were a lot of officers that were headed in that direction. So by the time we sit down to review the incident, as I mentioned, the gun was recovered not by either the shooting officer or the other officer with him. It was by that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th officers that approached. So there's probably 8, 10 officers on scene in the next couple of minutes. Those cameras obviously exist. I just didn't have time to get them to you by 4 o'clock.
In the video, you heard the officers say, "Stop reaching, man, you're going to get shot." Did he actually pull a gun and point it at officers? We couldn't see that, so I'm wondering if you could give context.
Yep, and I couldn't see it obviously too because of that. So I'm just sharing you the information that I have, and that's the reason I included that third video, because it was important, because you can hear that back and forth. You can hear the one officer say, "Show me your hands, show me your hands." If you watch I believe both videos, you can see that when he slips on ice after getting off his bike, he takes his right hand and he puts it in a way that would be awkward if you weren't taking something from your, either a gun or something else. So he was reaching for something. You hear the back and forth with the officers. The one officer's yelling, "Show me your hands, show me your hands." It's the other one that says, "He's got a gun, he's got a gun." He then says, "He's got his hand on a gun." He says, "Yes." The reason I included that final video was because I thought it was important. As you could see, you couldn't quite see the gun in that. You couldn't see the gun in that body-worn camera video that we showed. And it's very possible that one of the 4 surveillance cameras out there had that, and Michigan State Police already have it. But moments after that shooting, then that third video that you heard was the shooting officer saying, "I saw the barrel pointed right at me." So with that context, yeah.
So we see 2 officers over the man, but we don't see the second angle. Do you have that video?
We've got a lot of video, Matt. I just gave you what we could get together. I'm telling you, when I got there last night, there were probably 30. I think we had 33 people working last night, and so maybe 25 officers, including the command staff that show up. Probably 30 officers. So there's a ton of video. I'm literally, I tried to get it to you guys by 4 o'clock. We have 2 detectives that are specially trained in video production, whatever. Both of them are off for, one of them's at court, one of them's off on family leave. So this is a push for us. And the reason, maybe not as thorough, maybe not as many videos as we usually get you, but it was important. We discussed it this morning, said this is going to be a heavy lift for us to get it to you guys before the evening news. But then we were getting calls from people in the community saying, "Hey, whatever social media site is saying this, or saying that he your officer emptied a clip to the back of this guy's head, that he was doing this, and all of it nonsense. We said, you know what, let's just get out what we can initially, and I think there'll very likely be more information coming shortly.
Can you describe how aid was rendered? From what we're hearing from neighbors is their concerns of he was dead and then he was taken to the hospital. Can you explain a little bit about how your officers render aid in a situation like this?
Sure. So all of our officers are equipped with individual first aid kits, and that's not only for themselves. If they get shot, they'll have tourniquets, et cetera. I believe the injuries on this gentleman were for on the torso, so it wouldn't be appropriate to use a tourniquet in that situation. All our officers also have gauze pads, so to stop pressure, but they also have chest seals, which oftentimes if you're struck with a bullet and it punctures your lung, the best thing you can do is put a plastic chest seal over that wound, and it allows your lungs to continue functioning. In this case, if they determined that his heart had stopped, they would be doing CPR. I know that whatever they did, at least, whether it extended his life, I don't know, but I know that his life was viable. He was transported, being treated by EMS, taken to the hospital, and I don't believe it was pronounced till after 1 a.m. I think it was probably about 1 a.m. that I got the call that he had been pronounced. I know they were doing surgery on him, so clearly he was, the hospital, I think, did a great job. It's always tough to go in there. I didn't, one of the deputy chiefs was over there, but man, if you haven't seen it, to see these OR teams in the emergency rooms try and save somebody's life, and when they finally do pronounce them, it's one of the most devastating you ever see, to the looks on the doctors' faces and the nurses' faces. If you think this happened about 9:30, picture he probably got there, by 10, and then 3 solid hours of just working nonstop. They're sweaty, they're exhausted, emotionally drained, and then they have to go talk to family members. So I know I'm going a little off script there, but it's a very difficult thing to go through. So kudos to the men and women who work at our local hospitals who undertake that. I feel very fortunate to work with people like that.
As a point of clarification, was it, you said 3 shots, did those all result in chest wounds from what you
I don't know, and I won't know until Michigan. Actually, I probably won't know at all. So how I'm giving you information about the injuries is we did have 2 officers that escorted him to the hospital, and they helped facilitate and stayed at the hospital until relieved by Michigan State Police. And they just said, they're opening up his chest, they're doing surgery on his chest. Everything was chest like that. I don't know whether he was hit once or 3 times. I know from watching it, in my opinion, there were 3 shots fired.
How long was that your officers chasing him out?
Probably about 90 seconds, maybe. Yeah, it was long enough so that you could hear the sirens from coming out, and that's preliminary information. I didn't actually time it, but it was a significant amount of time he was riding. Yes, sir.
When the officer said he pointed the gun at him, and where did that happen? Was it just before the shots were fired? Do you know what he was referring to?
No, I don't. So you can hear the back and forth as the 2 officers are talking together while they're struggling on the ground. So come to your own conclusions about that. It was, within just seconds after the shooting that second clip. But obviously that would be a good question for the officer. Hey, where were you when obviously I'm sure he was down on the ground as they both were, but at what point in time did that happen? I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, that would be a good question.
Sorry if this was already answered and I missed it. I know
Yeah.
not identifying anyone involved in the situation, but are you able to say how long these officers have been with the department?
Well, I'll say like the K-9 officer, who's the one that most of the cameras, you don't become a K-9 officer here overnight, so you had to do his time. I think both of them have over 5 years on. I'm familiar with both of them. I was able to when I saw them last night, easily say I know who these officers are. So they're not brand new. We have a lot of officers in training right now, so that's always the potential, but it wasn't the case last night.
I know the family had described to me that they were quite upset that they weren't allowed to see their loved one at the hospital. They said officers kept them out of seeing him. Explain to me why that would be a situation.
Well, we don't run security at the hospital, but I'll just roll with you for hypothetical. We are often called to hospitals, both here and in my last jurisdiction. It was a very common occurrence. A situation like that, you get such passion, such emotion when a loved one dies of natural causes. So when police involvement, when there's questions, when there's unanswered questions, when there's rumors going around on the street, you get 20 family members. If Eric Winstrom shows up deceased at a hospital, They're going to want answers. There's going to be a lot of passion. Well, that hospital, that ER still has to operate. There's still people coming in with serious injuries all the time, and they need to be able to do that in a safe manner. So if the size gets to a point where hospital security can't handle it, they'll call the Grand Rapids Police Department and say, can you help? We can't operate our hospital. We can't risk people running in the back. We have work to do. As I mentioned, it was till 1 a.m. they were working on this young man. And I believe I heard over the radio, probably 11 or 11:30, that requests were made for officers to respond to the hospital. So it's just the hospital recognizing that where the rest of the world doesn't stop with one serious incident like that. But as I said, they have their own security. We certainly like to help them out if needed.
Quick question, did they have a taser by any chance, either of those officers, and if so?
Oh yeah, I'm sure both officers
so
had
why
tasers.
Gun versus taser and not?
Well, that's a good question, because you can see taser's an excellent, less lethal option. And in this case, the less lethal option chosen was a canine, and it would be more appropriate in this case because you could see he was running. Usually the canines can outrun an individual. So in my experience, in a similar situation, if I was an officer and had access to a canine, that would be my choice of less lethal option, because that would be used to capture this individual. And now they thought that the individual had a gun. It would not be appropriate to then approach with a taser unless you were certain that he didn't have a real gun, or that it wasn't actually a gun. So it's a great tool. The new tasers that the city has given us, they have a range of up to 40 feet. If the individual's wearing a winter coat or something like that, it can make it less effective. But in this case, they went for a less lethal option with the canine. I think it was something that in a similar situation, it's something that I would do. But all those sort of factors of why did you do this, those are the sort of questions that they will be asked.
Chase policy. What is the chase policy?
Well, we don't have it, obviously the pursuit policy for motorcycles, for vehicles exists all over, because you don't want to introduce a 2,000-pound rocket going down the street at 100 miles an hour. You could take out innocent people. In this case, officers, shouldn't act recklessly, but it's pretty safe to chase someone on a bicycle.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming.
Okay, thanks guys, appreciate you.